Just great race cars, part of a great organization that gives me cars that are able to do it. And, I feel like I've missed out on so many grandfather clocks here because of mechanical issues and stuff. And we just weren't going to be denied today. And hats off to Brad. I mean, he had an option, and he took the ladder. So thank him for that. And proud of the whole FedEx team. Everyone from the Greenbrier go there, celebrate after this win. Sport Clips, the Coke, the Jordan brand, Sprint, Toyota, just everyone at FedEx has just been great with us, and proud to be partners with them.
Welcome to NASCAST 500, the only NASCAR podcast that will never step foot in Indiana ever again. If you hear that, Mike Pence, you're a piece of shit. I'm Elizabeth Moxley, and I'm joined by
Mathew
and Adam Hamm.
Hey guys.
Hey, what's up?
Oh well, we just got back from Martinsville, and I gotta say, Danny Hamlin, you ignorant slut.
Well, a lot of people were expecting it to be a finish of somebody else winning. Figured Harvick would be the one that had the chance because he had a great car and led a lot of laps. But Hamlin was one of my thoughts that I thought could win because that was one of his best tracks. And then we also had Logano. He led 108 laps, and that was pretty surprising considering Martinsville isn't Penske's best track. Brad led 18 laps. Hamlin led 91. But obviously, the driver who led the most was Harvick, 154 of the 500 laps. And I really thought that Harvick was going to get his third win this year. The West Coast swing didn't really pan out the way he wanted to with the second place finish at ACS last week. So, and his 8th straight top 2 finish comes to an end at ironically, he finishes 8th. Gordon really had a shot at the end. Him and Stewart, first and second on one of the restarts after one of the bullshit debris cautions, and then another debris caution took Gordon out of the race and basically fucked his chances of winning, and of course that was just awful to watch. And I figured Gordon would have a shot to win or at least be in the top 5. Really, the race wasn't that memorable for me. I slept through the first 175 laps of it. I woke up and I was looking at what was going on. Johnson got fucked up early, which was awesome, but once again, I missed it because every time it seems like the 48 has issues, I sleep through it or I miss it. Case in point,
dude, you got a job now. You can't sleep anymore.
It's only Saturdays now, but that's only during Saturdays. So if it's when we get up to like the Saturday night races, like at Richmond and whatnot, I probably won't be able to watch it. But this race really wasn't that big of a deal. It was just Martinsville. Who cares? I'd like to give an attaboy to David Reagan, 5th in the 18 car for Kyle. That's really underrated, and I like Reagan. I think he's a good driver. I just think he just got paired up in shitty equipment at front row. But to come here and finish 5th at a track where nobody would talk about David Reagan, and it was good for him. And basically, it was a good race all around for the Gibbs guys. 1st, 4th, and 5th. Only one that really didn't have a good run again was Edwards, who finished 17th, blew a tire late, and fucked his chances of winning. And I thought he had a chance to win as well, but he kind of got faded back late in the pack. McMurray, another great top 10 run for him, and I'm still really impressed with Truex, another top 10 finish, 6th place after starting on the 2nd row. But everybody's talking about the bitch in the 10 car finishing 7th. That just overshadows everything.
Wait 1 second.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. Great music for that. That totally fit. It wasn't that good of a race with Logano 3rd, Smith filling in for Larson, who fell ill from a autograph appearance.
Yeah, he
on
just got
Saturday.
released from the hospital today.
Yeah, I read that on J-Ski, so glad to see that Young Money's out of the hospital and he's doing good and will be back in Texas more than likely.
Did they find a reason why he fainted?
I have no idea. I really haven't checked on the articles yet, but
I don't think they have.
Yeah, I think it was just an out of nowhere type of thing. But yeah, when I read that about Larson, I was like, oh, that sucks. I mean, because Larson's one of my guys, but Smith really didn't do that bad in his substitute run for Larson's 16th. Yeah, I mean, if he can do better than Carl Edwards or Toast Smoke can do, and Smith doesn't even run Cup full time, that just shows you that he is an underrated driver and he belongs back in Cup, but he just doesn't really have a ride to do so because all the good rides are taken. So happy for Hamlin, happy that he won because I'm still a Hamlin fan, and it's Danny time.
Yeah, I mean, three guys led over 350 laps of the 500, so it's par for what's been going on all season, with Harvick dominating early on and Logano leading from pole. Hamlin, it's one of his best tracks. I think it was his fifth. Yeah, it's his fifth win at Martinsville. Uh, it's not really shocking. I think it was more shocking that Penske finished 2-3 in the race. I mean, there was no Chevys in the top five for once, thank God. Three Gibbs guys, which there's enough stuff going on the pages I usually frequent that says that it's a little dubious that on the week that J.D. Gibbs announces he has an illness or whatever it is, that they get three of their cars in the top five. And you have Roid Rage was up there most of the day until the end too. And then the two Penskes were second and third. But I mean, between the MotoGP opener at Qatar, the IndyCar Series opener at St. Pete, golf, and probably something else that I'm forgetting off the top of my head right now. I didn't watch a lot. I watched early, and then I came back in for the last probably 70 laps of the race. I kind of missed when Jeffy got screwed over by the quote, air quote, debris caution, end quote, that had him come into the pits, and they screwed that whole deal up. And Jeffy probably had a chance and probably should have won the race, but it's typical of NASCAR. They have to manipulate finishes. I just agree with Adam's sentiment on David Reagan. He's had a tough start to actually driving a real car. You can make an argument he's never really been in a good car his whole career, but he also hasn't really done much to make you think that he's that good. This is one of the first times he's probably ever contended at a short track in his career, so props to him on that. And Truex continuing his streak. The all-time streak to start a season is Morgan Shepherd back in '90. I saw this earlier today that 11 straight top 10s to open a season. I was back in '90, and he finished fifth in points. So hopefully he doesn't become a wife beater, but he actually continues on that streak and makes the chase. And of course, Harvick continues his deal. Other than that, I mean, Kurt Busch had a better car than what his final result was. Same for Roid Rage. Stewart stayed out late, and there was a long green flag run at the end of the race, which probably screwed up the strategy. He was leading at lap 463, and there was a caution right there, and he led for 7-8 laps, and then Kenseth passed him, and Hamlin eventually passed Kenseth for the win. And that could have worked out if another caution came out, but obviously it didn't. But there's bigger stories that come to mind that the lame stream will tell us about, obviously, that is worth. I mean, the good thing is at least the 48 and 88 didn't do well. That'd be good. And Richard.
Yes. Oh, Richard. Which, by the way, on our page yesterday, I was so bored at work that I decided to draw another Pukeamania and Richard hitting each other to the wall. If you check that out, I'm a bad artist. It was all good. It was all good.
Yeah, he had a horrible day as usual. Silver Spoons had problems, and Allgaier, I don't know what happened to him. I think he wrecked again. He wrecked in qualifying. He also wrecked in the race. And AJ had engine problems after having a top 10 start. Chase Elliott in his debut, I thought top 25. Obviously, he hit everything but the pace car. Him and Johnson. And he finished in 38th, so...
Okay, well, we got some penalties. Ooh. Let it up. Yes, no neck. Number 31, Sprint Cup team penalized for a rules violation. Let me just go down and look.
It's a P5 penalty.
Oh, fucking hell.
It's a P5 penalty, 75 point fine, 75 points lost for driver, owner. I don't know what the fine is exactly. I really don't know.
A loss of additional $50,000.
It's $150,000 fine or something for Childress, No Neck, what's his name? The
Luke Lambert.
Luke Lambert, the crew chief, all the people that were involved, the tire guys, and Luke Lambert itself were suspended 6 races. And it doesn't sound like Pop is in any hurry to appeal, but they probably should. That penalty is dubious, to say the least. Whether it's Hendrick or Gibbs, I think one of those two teams gave up the 31 personally. Because who the hell cares that No Neck is doing it? If No Neck's doing it, then you know that people who actually win races are doing it. He hasn't won a race in 2 years. Yeah, he almost won the championship, which I guess is probably, that's why it's a double secret penalty that they put on him. I mean, they usually throw these insane penalties, and with the stupid penalty system they have, where they say, oh, it's a P5. Like, nobody knows what the fuck that means. Like, seriously. The old system didn't make any sense because it was dubious, and now this system, they just come up with letters and numbers, which most of them can't count or spell, so I don't know why they have that. It's a BS penalty because you know that Hendrick does it, you know that Gibbs does it, especially with the 11 and 19, if anything, at least those two. I mean, you can make a case for Penske and the 4 car and the 41. There's so many of those cars that are doing it. I mean, they said, oh, they're putting holes in the tires. The fact is, bad gear tires usually end up with holes in them because they're so bad. So what's the difference between what they're doing and what bad gear gives them on a regular basis? I don't think it's that much of an advantage when you consider they don't win races. If you're telling me that Harvick was doing it, then it would be something to me, because it would put into question their championship, it would put in question all their performance, etc., etc. Penalizing No Neck is just a BS penalty, like typical NASCAR. They penalize the offshoot people instead of penalizing the real causes, which is usually Hendrick Motorsports.
Hello? Hello?
Oh, yeah. Sorry,
Adam?
Mike. Catching up again. Yeah, with my take on the Newman issue, I mean, I'm a Newman guy, and I don't, when your driver gets penalized or your favorite driver gets penalized, you kind of like, what the fuck, what happened? And then you're like, oh, well, okay, there goes that little tidbit. And I looked and I thought, oh, fucking Christ. So after ACS, they issued a 75-point penalty, and I'm like, a 75-point penalty for Newman, but no penalties for the 48 for anybody else that does it? Like, really? What the fuck? And like what Phil said with the whole P5 penalty, it's just more confusing bullshit that NASCAR dreamed up in their sleep just so they could confuse the race fans even more, while they continue to do more bullshit that fucks up the sport even more than it was before. The penalty system, it's just like, okay, if someone does this, then give them a 10-point penalty. Give them a 50-point penalty, but don't label it like P5, P4. Nobody fucking understands it. Even the older race fans who've been around the sport longer than 20, 30 years are like, what the fuck is a P5? And even I'm like, what the fuck is a P5? Because I've been watching NASCAR for 17, 18 years, and I still don't get it. It's just, not only do they fuck up the penalty system, but they fuck up everything else. I mean, they fucked up qualifying, they fucked up the penalty system, they fucked up the championship format. It's like, what the fuck else can they fuck up next? What are they gonna? Are they gonna fuck up practice? Are they gonna have some kind of issues with practice now? Are they gonna change it so the fans will be more enticed in watching it? Like, Jesus Christ, they can't fix anything to save their lives or make it better. Whatever they think they're fixing, it's fixing, all right. It's fixing to blow up in their faces. So, I'm a fan of Newman. I've been since he's drove that 12 all-tail Dodge for Penske right before he moved over to Stewart-Haas. So I'm not really pleased with the penalty. So whatever, it's just another bullshit penalty that NASCAR issues out because they just want to issue somebody something just to keep up in appearances. So fucking whatever.
Okay, who wants to talk about Pukeamania? Raise your hand.
I do.
All right,
Yeah,
go ahead, Phil.
let Phil do it.
Well, all right. So I saw that nonsense, and it was a good thing that I had it on mute, or I was watching other things, because I would have probably puked or thrown something through my TV, because probably Darrell Waltrip was beating off in the booth when that wench was running up in the top 10. Earlier in the race, I was seeing on social media that she was in the way, and every person rammed her in the ass, like in real life. And when she was in the way, like she usually is. But, long story short with her, the miracles happen once in a while. So, I mean, even for her, she has to finish in the top 10 once in a while in that equipment. It's her 5th top 5 in 88 starts. So, a 5th top 5 in 88 starts. And if you count her participation in the Xfinity series, she's had like 6 or 7 5th top 10 in 88 starts. And you count her participation in Xfinity, it's over 100. Like I'm going to give it credit to our buddy Michael Sanders from the Keeping Up with the, let's get it right.
NASCAR Media.
Keeping an eye on the NASCAR Media page on Facebook. He's the admin on there. Great guy, good friend to all of us, and he's a regular contributor to our page. One of our real supporters here on NASCAST, and he put it up here because I was curious. I was like, I really want to see the real breakdown between Miss Hummer and which is my new name for her because she says for every other word that she does in any interview. She's the most inarticulate person outside of Junebug there is in this sport, and it's just pathetic that they actually hitched their wagon to this whore. 5 top 10s. In 88, so 5 top 10s in 88 races. Janet Guthrie, the great Janet Guthrie, who was a pioneer for women in oval racing in terms of Indy cars and running the Indy 500 and in NASCAR as well. She had 5 top 10s in 33 races, and that was in really shitty equipment. And Danica's never had bad equipment. It's the person who was behind the wheel that was the problem, and that's always been the case. Janet's career average, 19.3, over Danica's average of 24.9. Danica has 80, so she's had 150 something plus stock car starts to Janet Guthrie's 35 or something. So when you consider the level of equipment, you consider the amount of PR she gets, and all the other things that come with her, it's like, who the hell? Why is it a story that she finishes in the top 10? She should. If she had any talent whatsoever, she should do it regularly. Kurt Busch got her crew chief and now finishes in the top 10 regularly. Daniel Knost, who's her crew chief, won the race last year with good strategy. that team, outside of Tony, of course, had great setups for Martinsville. But one of the only tracks that she seems to somehow or another get around, miraculously, is Martinsville. It's insane to me that people cover her like it's some sort of miracle or great thing that she's finishing in the top 10. It's 88 freaking starts. If her name was Dan Patrick, that fucking slut would be working as a man of the night at some freaking cheap rent at some 18-wheeler trailer park or some garbage like that. She wouldn't even have a job. She's a horrible race car driver. She's a horrible example for women, and she's just a pathetic waste of time. And it just pisses it's not just the fact that they cover her like she matters. It's the obsession of all those ball lickers at Fox Sports and all the other media. Her inability to speak irritates me beyond belief because she says every other sentence, and it's like it's every other word, and it's disgusting. And like fucktards like Justin Tucker who go and hump their wall to that fucking disgusting wench. I mean, seriously, just give it up. She sucks dick, literally and figuratively, at racing. Fire that bitch, Tony. Get it over with. Either that or just admit you're fucking her. At least go and say that. So then I understand why you employ this whore. Because she's horrible. She's a complete waste of time and space. Regan Smith, as Adam said earlier, is a perfect example of somebody that if you give him a decent ride and you give him somebody he can work with, he can actually get you top 10s, top 15. He can win a race. He wins a race. That's won as many races as that piece of trash whore has ever done in her life, and she backed into that one anyway. Like, serious, it's unbelievable. This is like some great accomplishment. There's women in lower forms of stock car racing right now that are all better than her and are better looking than her. Even Milk and Donuts, who sucks at driving, at least is attractive. The fact is, I'd rather look at her. She can't drive worth a lick, but the point is Danica can't drive worth a lick either. She just drives so slow and gets so many lucky dogs that she backs into finishes. Milk and Donuts just hits the wall 10 laps into the race or is in the way. If she should just go and do that and go and admit she sucks dick and just get it over with. Because oh my god, I can't stand her. It's just ridiculous. If Richard would just go and ram his freaking shrinky dink right in her freaking nose and just get it over with and take a picture of it and post it on social media so then she gets fired. Like something. Anything. If somebody just run a gangbang on her, like it's just freaking horrible. I can't stand her. She just irritates me beyond belief.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to try to follow that. I'm going to add my little 2 cents to the equation here. I'm not impressed with Danica's 7th place finish, just like I was impressed when she finished 6th at Atlanta. I'm not impressed. I mean, really, 7th place? Like, really, who the fuck cares? The fact that she's getting talked about more than fucking David Reagan. Finishing 5th in the 18 car, and she's getting press coverage just because she finished 7th as if she won a race. What the fuck? And then all these people are sucking her dick and they're like, "Oh my god, Danica, she's really improving." No, she's not. There's an article saying why Danica hasn't improved in her 3 years in Cup. That shows you right there she hasn't improved. She's wrecked a lot less, but that doesn't mean she's any better. She still sucks. She's still a media hyped bitch that I can't stand for no fucking reason. And then there's people like Justin Tucker, Robert Allen, and all these other fucking idiots that think she's the bee's knees. And then she's I counted how many times she said in that in her post race interview. Seven ums. Like, really? Jesus, tap dancing Christ. 7 ums. Like, my God. I mean, I counted it. I'm like, oh, here we go. Let's listen to this. And then I counted. I'm like, I'm gonna count how many ums. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. 7 ums. And my car. And Just like, Jesus Christ, bitch, you have a fucking speech impediment or something? Like, goddamn. Like,
No, her
we
speech
get it.
impediment is Richard's dick. That's her speech impediment.
Oh my god, that's perfect. But, yeah, I'm not really impressed with Danica's finish. The more, I'm just pissed with all these lame streamers giving her more coverage than Truex or Reagan, who deserve it, because they're actually raced their asses off, and Truex got a sixth with no power steering.
Martin did get some press coverage. Wendy Venturelli, or whatever the hell her name is,
Venturini.
Yeah, they had a previous show where she interviewed him and Sherry about her cancer ordeal, but it was a good interview. I feel bad for Sherry. I really do.
Yeah, but that was before he finished sixth. I mean, I'm talking just the race after the race. I mean, Truex is really improving with his sixth place finish, and this whole year has really been great for him. And Reagan, as Phil said, really hasn't had that big of an opportunity this year with the 18 car not showing his finishes. But with the fifth place at Martinsville, which just shows that all the Gibbs cars did good except for Edwards, who finished 17th. I mean, the fact that they're not getting coverage and Pukeamania is with her miraculous 7th place finish, and then all these lame streamers are just saying that she's the fucking best woman driver to ever appear in NASCAR. It's like, shut the fuck up. Only reason she's in NASCAR, as I've stated millions of times in statuses, pictures, and on the show, she's only in NASCAR because of her sex appeal, her quote-unquote talent, and then that win in IndyCar. That's the only fucking reason she should, and the fact that she probably blew half the owners of NASCAR to accept her in it, and I wouldn't be surprised if Stewart blew a load in her face, but that's another story for another day.
Hard too.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, with the people who defend her like she deserves it, that we need to give credit where credit is due. I mean, I got into an argument with this Pukeamania defender on Sunday right after she finished 7th. And I said, Pukeamania said 7 times in her post-race interview, Jesus tap dancing Christ. And then I had some guy who got so butthurt that I was picking on his beloved Danica. I'm just like, well, she sucks. This is only her 5th, I said 3rd top 10, but I didn't realize it was 5. I said, this is basically what he said. Even when she does good, you guys talk shit. Why not give her credit where credit is due for once? She did great today. It obviously doesn't happen every day, but give her break for once. So was her 7th place finish rigged? And I'm like, why are you going to jump to conclusions like that? And I said, this is her 3rd top 10 finish in her career. She's been in Cup for 3 years, and she still sucks. So what if she finished 7th? Not really going to matter in the grand scheme of things. Do I think it was rigged? No. But I find it sad that she was the best finishing HHR car, and only because the last 2 cautions fucked Harvick over. This time next week, she'll be in the garage. And, now her doing good and cautions fucked over Harvick from doing better than her? LOL. Just admitted that she did a good job today. And I'm just thinking, are you, like, retarded or something? And I hate to use that word because there's, a lot of people out there who actually have mental issues, and calling him that is an insult to those people. So, I mean, this guy is a fucking idiot. I mean, he's just getting his panties in a wad because Danica, nobody agreed with his comments about how we need to give Danica a break and that we need to give her credit. Yeah, maybe so, but you're sitting on your couch while you wishing you could be in a car. But guess what? You won't be, and she will be. Why? Because she's a better driver than you. Hashtag SMH. And I'm just thinking, I love NASCAR, but my desire, I don't have a desire to get into a Cup car. My big number one is to be an off-road racer like Robbie Gordon. That's my main goal. That's always been my main goal since I was about 10. And that's probably been my main goal for a long time. So people like Robert Allen and Justin Tucker who are getting so mad because we're not giving Danica credit and not giving her a break. We're not supposed to. She's a fucking meat-and-hopped bitch who's only in NASCAR because she sucked a shit ton of dick, and she's good at it, obviously. She fucked around with Richard while she was still with her ex-husband. That just shows you how real great of a representative of female people we have in our sport. I mean, the fact that they overlook that So that's the fact that they overlooked that Danica was screwing around with Richard when she was married with her ex-husband, and it's like, well, what do you expect? She's a fucking whore. So fuck Danica. She doesn't deserve the 7th place finish. She doesn't deserve that 10 car. And get rid of her and put someone in that car who can actually drive and give Stewart a top fucking 10, or maybe put that car in victory lane, or probably won't happen because Slow Daddy will end up sponsoring her because she's probably taking loads from the executives there too.
Yeah, I mean, that's just to chime back in because Adam made a lot of great points, and it's usually Adam that has the rants, and I usually have to follow. So, yeah, we have to balance it out. Sometimes I have to balance it out with me going crazy, and in this case with her, it's just unbelievable. I mean, you said something about her quote, her looks, making it on her looks. It's her quote looks and quote sex appeal. Because the point is, when she was basically butt naked, because Bobby Rahal told her to do it back in 2003, and I was a little hornier and a little dumber back then in my life, yeah, it kind of appealed to me because there wasn't any chicks that were trying to drive. Now, 12 years later or 13 years later, there's a lot of attractive women who actually can drive and actually deserve to be there and have results to boot, but she still has no results. And it's like, oh, well, you can't do it. It's like, you know what? It's great for all of you you Pukeamaniacs to really believe that I can't do it as good as she can. The point is, the only reason she's there is because somehow or another there's a sponsor dumb enough to sponsor her. The minute the GoDaddy money goes away, so does she. She's going to be going and sitting like Bernie Ecclestone says. She's going to go sit in the kitchen and wear a white dress so she looks like the kitchen appliances and go and cook dinner. That's for Richard. That's what she's going to be doing in a year or two, or hopefully at the end of this year. That's what she's going to be doing. That's what she belongs doing. Because it's not about being sexist. It's not about being hating women. It has nothing to do with that. I don't hate women. At the end of the day, you look at how many women I promote in my both as my career, as a writer, and as people that I'm fans of. There's way more women that I'm a fan of than, and she's basically the only one I don't like. It's just the fact that she's the most publicized and the least talented of the bunch, other than other than Milk and Donuts. But it's just unbelievable to me that a 7th-place finish is this important. It's not important. It's 7th. Who the fuck cares about 7th? When did NASCAR Sprint Cup racing become like intramurals or something where everybody participates, gets a medal and a prize? And that was another thing. I actually was helping out on Saturday with Special Olympics at Carolier Lanes in North Brunswick, New Jersey for their bowling spring sports invitational for bowling. I'm pretty sure most of them kids can not only bowl better than them, can drive better than her, and are more intelligent than she is. They can actually speak better. I was talking to some of those guys, some of those kids. They're really cool people. They all could speak better than freaking Pukeamania too. So let's just get that out of the way too. That we're going to talk about using the R word. The point is, there's different special, whatever. There's different, not handicaps, or there's something up. The point is, there's no handicap with Danica other than she sucks at life. And she won't go away. She's like the Kardashians. That's what she is. She's like the Kardashians. She'll never go away until somebody wrecks her like Bruce Jenner. And seriously, can Bruce Jenner just come out on the racetrack and run her over and get it over with? That'd be great.
Okay. Great job by both of you, by the way, on the rant. So, now I'm going to go on the rant for the first time since the show started. This asshole named Mike Pence, who's the governor of Indiana, he just signed this new religious freedom law, which basically discriminates businesses from serving gays and lesbians. NASCAR and the person who runs the Indianapolis Motor Speedway say that they're disappointed and upset, and they support their fans. Which, you know what? They're hypocritical because they're gonna race in Indiana anyway. I mean, look, this law is ridiculous. I mark my words, Indiana will be either bankrupt by the end of the year, or they'll probably recall that motherfucker. Now, let me say this: I would never ever discriminate people for their sexual orientation, their race, their religion choices, blah blah blah. But there's 3 other states that are going to be approving this, going to do this similar law: Arkansas, North Carolina, and Texas. What I'm trying to say is, just be respectful of one another. I don't just put the sexual orientation, the race, blah 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 on the side, and just get along.
Yeah, I mean, with the whole discrimination bullshit law, I read about that earlier today, and I'm like, Indiana's not a redneck state, but yet they're acting like they're fucking in the South. Like, what the fuck? And, you know, we're not in the fucking 1960s anymore. This isn't fucking when Martin Luther King was fucking doing his little his things for his
I have a dream.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, with the whole with people, you know, mistreating African Americans and all this bullshit. Now we have this asshole, the governor of Indiana, saying, "Oh well, yeah, well, okay, we're not gonna serve gay people." It's just like, fucking really? Since when did you become Chick-fil-A? And since when did Indiana become part of the South? That's what I want to know. And then with Elizabeth said, with the other states that are promoting this law are going to be doing it soon. Texas and North Carolina. That I can get, because it's the fucking South. There's a bunch of unintelligent, bigoted rednecks in the South. Still think it's fucking 1950, where Jim Crow was still in effect. I'm just like, really, dude? You guys are going to be acting like this in fucking 2015? We're 15 years into the 21st century, and this is how you guys are acting? Like, dude, guys, I expect more from Indiana. I mean, Indiana has given us a lot of great drivers over the years: Tony Stewart, Ryan Newman, Jeff Gordon. But really, this is what you guys are doing now? Like, fuck Christ. At least Indianapolis, at least IMS had the balls to say, yeah, we're disappointed in them. But yeah, Elizabeth's right. I mean, if they don't really like the law, yet they're going to continue racing there anyway, that just doesn't make sense. But I guess they're trying to keep up appearances. But yeah, fuck that governor. He should just go live in some trailer in Alabama and fuck his sister or something. Like, just like get it over with.
Well, Seth Meyers had a great line. It's like they were talking about Mike Pence going in past Islam's like, goodbye, President of the United States, because if he wanted to be the president, that's went out the window. It's just insane to me that we're in 2015 and we're not trying to be a political show, though we have some spins on that. The logic that Mike Pence can say something like this and pass a bill that is not only closed-minded, but discounting a group of people that aren't affecting anybody. The thing with Indiana is, you know, they want to be in the South, but they're in the Midwest, which is basically, in a lot of ways, they're a red state. You know, they were kind of, you can't say they were purple ever. They're more a red state, always have been. You know, you're mostly conservative people over there. There's really nothing going on. It's kind of like the middle of nowhere in a lot of parts of Indiana. So you could say there's enough closed-minded people in the state to go and make that happen. But the point is, there are developed parts of the country that are open to all, you know, races and all groups and all sexual orientation. And the logic that, this is the thing, if BZF and all of them want to say something, have some balls. Go and say we're not racing at IMS anymore. The fact is they're not going to do that. They're going to keep on racing at IMS and put on some of the shittiest racing of the whole entire year, because there's never been a good stocker race at Indianapolis. That would show some balls. That would actually mean something if they actually said, oh yeah, we're not going to race there. They're not going to cancel the Indy 500. Because the IndyCar series, for as much as I love it as a diehard fan, is irrelevant on TV and irrelevant in mainstream sports society. So they're not going to get rid of the Indy 500. If they get rid of the Indy 500, the IndyCar series dies. Of course they're going to run the Indy 500. But other than that, they shouldn't have anything else in the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And if NASCAR had balls, they would do that. They'd run somewhere else that weekend, or they'd take a weekend off, or go to Montreal, or go somewhere where there's some sort of progressiveness in terms of thinking, because it's so ass backwards, the line of thinking they have in Indiana, and it's disturbing. I mean, it's the same way as some of these states have the rebel flag out like it's okay, even though it speaks of slavery, it speaks of all the bad that took place in the 40s, 50s, and 60s in our country, and it's like it's based on things like Fox News and how they go and portray this country and fearmonger to the point where people believe that it's okay to behave that way, and it's not, and it's disturbing, and it's a real problem, and unfortunately nothing's going to happen because IMS is still going to have people. Jim Irsay, who owns the Indianapolis Colts, who's not really a great representative of human life either, but he's rich. He came out against it harshly, but in the end, they're not moving from Indianapolis. That ended when Peyton Manning made him that stadium, because they have Andrew Luck. They need to move in the Indianapolis Colts as much as he's offended by it. So I mean, it's just a joke, and it's a disturbing trend that this society. It's a disturbing trend about society when something like this comes out.
Okay, so Chase Elliott's aunt, she got arrested to yesterday. Apparently, she was trying to run over her husband. I don't know for what. I don't know. But you think Pukeamania is bad?
Well, I mean,
was bad.
Yeah, I was reading that comment and I was thinking,
Pukeamania. I'm sorry, Pukeamania, not Pukeamania.
Well, Pukeamania is just as bad. I mean, she hasn't beat the shit out of Richard yet, but I'm pretty sure that's coming. I read about the article in the page with Chase Elliott's aunt getting arrested, and I thought, what the fuck? And she's basically the wife of Ernie Elliott, the engine builder and brother of Bill Elliott, who won 11 races in 1985, including the Winston Million, and then the 1988 championship. I kind of find it a little weird that out of all people, you'd figure the Elliott family wouldn't be involved in an arrest, especially Bill or Chase, because they're not the type of violent people. Yeah, they're from Georgia, but that they're not the banjo twiddling rednecks that'll go and shoot guns off just cause. So I mean, it's kind of shocking, I guess you could say. But yeah, aggravated assault charge she got. And she was trying to run over Ernie Elliott. I don't understand that, but yeah, she might have been drunk. She might have been on drugs, but who knows? That if she had a reason and motive, then it would have to have been something stupid, or she was just off her ass and she just didn't know any better. But either way, I mean, good thing getting her arrested, because if she was just gonna run over him just to run him over, that bitch should be committed.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty disturbing. I mean Ernie Elliott's greatness is mostly known with his brother, because the family team with Harry Melling did so much in the 80s and basically in the 1980s. They were the number 9 team with the Coors Light and Melling sponsorship Coors and Melling sponsorship were one of the teams to beat every single year. Bill Elliott only won one championship, but he won the better part of his 40 races with the family organization and Harry Melling's help. And Ernie was the engine builder, Dan was the crew chief, and they really made a lot of strides, and they did a lot of great things. There's only 2 people that ever won the Winston Million. It was the first and last year. It was Bill and Jeffy, and to see that, I mean, that's the kind of news they want. It's the TMZ society that the NASCAR media is at this point, where they're reporting, instead of reporting about how Chase, what Chase's struggles, on Sunday, or Chase's, struggles in Xfinity so far. They're reporting about how Ernie Elliott almost got ran over by his crazy wife, and whatever her malfunction was, it's going to be a real problem, and it's kind of disturbing, but it continues. It's the way our society's going at this point, where shit like this goes on. It's like, oh yeah, that's par for the course. Like that's where we're getting to at this point, which is a really bad thing, and it really needs to be controlled, and there has to be some control, or else we're gonna have more issues later on.
Okay, well, Eddie Gossage.
That fucking moron.
Yeah, he is using the Keselowski-Gordon fight to promote the Duck Commander 500.
Dick Commander 500, because he's the biggest dick on the planet.
Yeah.
I mean, I read that on the page when Elizabeth posted, and I thought, really, this is what it's come down to? We're promoting fights now? This isn't the WWE. So what if it's Texas? That doesn't really make any fucking sense. And that's really what they're gonna promote now. They're gonna promote, oh yeah, watch round 2 of the Brad Gordon fight at Texas. And it's just like, what the fuck? Are you really that desperate for fucking seats? Like, goddamn. Texas sucks enough as it is. The racing sucks. Every fall race that has been going on for the last 3 years, that piece of shit of 48's won. It's never been an exciting race. The only reason everyone talked about it last year was because of that little brush-up between Brad and Gordon. And, I mean, that's what it's coming down to. I mean, yeah, I understand with the 1979 Daytona 500 when the Allison brothers and Cale Yarborough got into a fight, because that changed NASCAR and put it on the map, which is a good thing for our sport. This, on the other hand, this isn't good for our sport. It makes us look like a bunch of I was going to say retards again. A bunch of fucking idiots. That's a better term. For feeding into this bullshit. Like, really? We're going to be, oh yeah, fight! Yeah, America! Like, what the fuck? We're not there to see the fights. We're there to see racing. But, at Texas, that doesn't really count, because there's really no racing at Texas. It's just another fucking bullshit cookie-cutter track that should have been gone from the get-go. I mean, the first lap of the first race, there was like 13 cars that wrecked. That should tell you something. When 13 cars can't even make it through turn 1, they're already out. That should tell you how bad the speedway is. So, Eddie Gossage, I mean, he's one of the worst examples of power in NASCAR. I mean, he's right up there with BZF and Mike Helton and all those other idiots that run NASCAR. And he's in bed with them more than likely. So, fuck Texas Motor Speedway, fuck Eddie Gossage. And by the way, change the fucking name of the race. The Duck Commander 500, really? I mean, I get you're Texas, but can you, maybe try to be a little less redneck? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean, Eddie Gossage is a wannabe Humpy Wheeler, and he's failed miserably. He really swears that Texas Motor Speedway is one of the best tracks in the whole entire country. But at the end of the day, NASCAR and everybody would be better, and IndyCar and anybody that actually goes to that garbage dump of a racetrack would be better off if they went to a Circuit of the Americas. He's so desperate to get anybody to show up to that garbage dump of a racetrack that he's promoting the Brad Jeffy fight that was basically instigated because Kevin Harvick pulled the WWE push move and pushed him into a pile. I mean, they made that fight was more memorable than the freaking championship. That should tell you all you need to know about how bad the chase was. When more people remember that fight, and Eddie Gossage is trying to play off of that. It's like a few years ago when Jeffy and Jeff Burton got into it. That's the point. The wrecks are more interesting than the actual racing. That should tell you what all the hijinks that go on post race or in the infield are more interesting than the race. That should tell you how bad the track is. They've never had a legitimate race date given to them. They've always stole them from somewhere else. So, I mean, it's just cheesy. It's it's corny. I mean, it makes it's like what Adam said. It makes NASCAR look low rent. And the point is that Gossage doesn't care because he's an imbecile, and all he cares about is a bottom dollar. And for some reason, SMI thinks. I mean, most if not all of SMI tracks suck, and Texas is no different. I don't understand the fascination with that place. I've never, outside of the races that Smoke has won for obvious bias, I've never seen a race that's been good there. And it's one of the worst racetracks on the whole entire circuit. So Eddie Gossage can go and suck on a friggin' tailpipe.
Okay, well, we had the Kroger 250. Good race, shitty outcome. I'll go down the list. Pizza Face, Crafton, Jones, Sauter, Reddick, Suarez, Busher. Here's a shocker. 2 Rex Townley, Tiff, and Boston.
I mean, the truck race was a joke. Logano started on the pole, led the most laps, 150 of the how many left? 258 because of the green-white checkers and then all that other bullshit. The race was a fucking joke. I really wish it would have been Crafton because he was the fastest truck that wasn't a Cup driver, and Jones had a great run with third. I figured it was going to be between him and Jones, but then Logano was always there at the end of the day. He was third, second, first. He was barely outside the top 10, and Cole Custer really could have had a chance to win had he not wrecked and pushed Logano out of the way. Logano was throwing a little pissy fit and on the radio saying someone better wreck that son of a bitch because he was so mad. And I'm like, really? You're gonna lose it on a kid who's not even an adult yet? Like, dude, if you try to beat his ass, your ass would be going to jail. So shut the fuck up. But like Elizabeth said, it did have a shitty outcome. The finish wasn't anything to talk about. It was a bullshit finish. It was, I believe it was rigged to have Logano do what Brad and Kyle and Harvick and all these other guys have done, win in all 3 series in Cup, Xfinity, and Trucks, and to win for Brad. So I'm not happy Logano won. I don't find any reason why I should be. I don't care if he drives for Brad. Logano's still a punk. Ever since he's been with Penske, he's become more of a punk than he was when he was at Gibbs. But at least when he was at Gibbs, he was just a punk who thought his shit didn't stink and he couldn't get the job done. Only 2 wins and 4 seasons at Gibbs, and plus he tried to wreck Robbie Gordon. So that's what made me hate him in the first place. But since he's won with Penske, he's become more self-absorbed. He's become more egotistical, and he becomes more like, "Why are you racing me this hard? I'm Joey Logano." And I'm like, well, dude, you're in NASCAR. You're not supposed to just let them by. And the fact that he's doing what Kyle's doing, he's basically replacing Kyle in this series, being the lone Cup driver in the field. And I'm saying lone Cup driver because Alabama man didn't do shit, of course. He finished 32nd, started 32nd, and finished last, so fuck you, Quapple. And anyway, the fuck Logano. I'm not happy that he won. All I gotta say is bring on Kansas because fuck Martinsville.
Yeah, I mean that's mentioning that with the great schedule that NASCAR made up, where they take a month off between the second and instead of it being the first and second races, it's the second and third races, and then they take another 5 weeks off before the next race, which is just genius scheduling. I can only imagine what that freaking room is like when they come up with these schedules. They have to be a bunch of geniuses working down in Florida, drunk off their Gordon, freaking DeWars, and all the other crap that BZF is into to come up with a schedule that bad. For me, honestly, after I did my volunteer work, I was able to get back, and yeah, Pizza Face, I heard it. Pizza Face and Crafton were the whole entire race. Mainly because Cole Custer in his first race for Junior Motorsports, in trucks, he was one of the fastest trucks. He ended up having 2 speeding penalties, but he made that finish really interesting. He went and pulled and he airmailed it into turn 1 and got into Pizza Face and Crafton. Crafton was hitting everything but the lottery on Saturday, and of course Logano, like a typical current day NASCAR driver, can give but can't take. So he threw a bitch fit, and I mean, I was pretty certain when Pizza Face got into 29. I mean, I'm a Brad fan and I'm a Ford guy because I have no choice because Dodge isn't around anymore. So yeah, I don't care for Logano, but the logic of winning all three series, that the significance of it has gone away more in recent years. So the fact that Pizza Face had never won a truck race, all right, whatever, it's for Brad. It's not like he drove for somebody else. I don't really care for the guy, but he doesn't bother me as much. But I would rather seen Crafton, even though he hit everybody but the lottery, or Cole Custer, Accutane, as I would say, because of his fucking he looks like Paperboy, but I guess he is using Accutane because he was much clearer this time than when he was in New Hampshire. He had a great truck. He made the move of the race that, other than Pizza Face making the 3 wide on the final restart, and actually making it stick. You'd hope the guy can win truck races. He's a freaking Cup driver who contended for a championship. If he can't win truck races, he probably shouldn't be in Cup in the first place. So, yeah, the stats show that it was dominated by 2 people. The racing at the end was pretty compelling between those 3. Eric Jones continues to knock out top 5s. Tyler Reddick continues to, lurk around there. You're talking about early in the season, 3 races in, you have 5 drivers within 28 points, 4 drivers within 16. So those 4, Crafton, Reddick, Jones, and Sauter, are probably your contenders for the championship, and they all basically were there. John Hunter Nemechek had transmission problems, or else he'd have probably had a top 5 finish in his first race of the season. So that was a bummer for me as a John Hunter guy. And Timothy Peters had a horrible race. Something's up with that 17 group. He's had an off start to this year after a good finish last year. 2-vehicle Townley actually making it a full distance without being completely torn up and in the garage is a minor miracle. Matt Tiff, the Ken Schrader protege and Venturini Motorsports driver, he's going to be driving Joe Gibbs. He's going to drive the Kyle Busch 51 later this year. He finished 9th. That was a good look for him. All 3 Kyle Busch trucks and both Keselowski trucks finished in the top 10. So the two dominant Cup drivers that own vehicles in the series had a presence on Saturday. Unfortunately, Paige Decker, who's a relatively attractive young lady who tried to make her debut with Ron Jeremy, wannabe Mike Harmon, failed to qualify. So we don't have that story, but hopefully later on this season she'll be able to make a debut.
Yeah, want to hear some Alabama man news?
Sure, why not?
Apparently, Alabama man couldn't participate in Sprint Cup because Suge Knight couldn't pay his crew. Well, you gotta pay your $25 million bond someplace.
Yeah, well, really, who cares if Alabama man can't make the race? He's not going to do anything but start and park. And if he doesn't, he's going to end up blowing up or something. And the more Alabama man gets on the track, the more I lose respect for him and the more I can't stand him. From the whole issue with Kurt getting suspended, I'm still up in arms about that. The fact that they suspended Kurt, but they kept this dickhead on the track, I'll never know. But who cares? Quapple's not going to do anything except bring a paycheck home and beat the shit out of his wife while nobody knows about it.
Yeah, I'll just leave that alone because he's
alright. Well, we're off this weekend because Jesus is coming out of a coma day. So we So so next week's episode will probably be a recap of all the races so far and making fun of butthurt fans.
Yeah.
So, yes, we're going to have a special segment for you, Justin Tucker.
Oh boy.
Wait.
There we go.
I wish that fucker actually listened, because he'd lose his mind.
That's next week, so hold it up. All right, we got some questions. I'm going to go through. I'm going to pick a few. Did Bob Horgas stay in the sheets after Danica's 7th place finish?
Definitely.
Yeah, but I mean, he all his other lane streamers jizz their loads on Danica, so why not?
Were any sheep safe after another almost win by Dale Jr.?
Not Mikey's.
That's what. All right, how about no? With his 5th place finish, could David Reagan win a race in the 18? Maybe.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, he's in a good equipment for once, and he proved his all at Martinsville, so I think he can.
Yeah, I mean, he's the thing with David Reagan is when you talk about Talladega and Daytona, because he's probably going to be in the car for the rest of this season. He's a plate specialist, so you figure if they give Toyota the special plate, they could probably give David Reagan a chance because he knows how to race there. But obviously, that 5th place finish last week was proof that he could actually make something happen in that car.
Okay, since he substituted for the 41 and the 42, will Smith substitute for Almirola sometime this year? Now, I highly doubt it.
I like that question because of the numerology, but hopefully Eric Almirola can keep on going. He's having a pretty solid start to 2015, which, considering how bad the Ford camp is kind of ironic. But.
Okay, well, Mathew, Benedetto, and Stewart butt heads again in Texas.
No. Because Mathew Benedetto is completely irrelevant to life, let alone racing. He drives for BK Racing. Let's keep it in perspective. It shows that the lame streamers have nothing. That dumb bitch Lee Spencer has nothing better to write when she has to go and pull Mathew Benedetto out to go and say, "Oh, Tony Stewart's a prick." It's like, thanks for telling us something that everybody knew about anyway in the first place. Like, and I'm a Tony fan. I already knew the guy was an a-hole. You're shocked he's an a-hole? Like, it's like, go fuck yourself. You're driving 40. You finish 40th every single week. You bought your ride with the worst multi-car team in the sport. Like, go seriously learn how to drive or figure out a way to earn a decent ride before you go and start coming after people like Tony Stewart.
Okay. Should Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond, and James May from Top Gear take over the Fox booth? Yes, please. Be a lot better than those 3 assholes in the booth right now.
Tonight, James hits someone in the face. I look at Jimmy Johnson spinning around, and Richard says, "Who the fuck is Danica Patrick?"
That's a good one. I would sign for that one because now that Jeremy Clarkson got fired by the BBC and
what happened there? I don't even have the BBC.
Basically, what happened was he got in a fight with one of the producers from Top Gear because Jeremy was in a hotel and he ordered a steak and I don't know what the side was, and apparently the chef had gone home and what Jeremy got was some cold soup and a meat slab, and he got pissed and punched the producer, and that just pissed the BBC off, and that's what got him canned, and they're gonna lose millions of viewers because of that little bullshit. But but yeah, you still have the Graham Norton show on there. I'm like, what the fuck? Makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, basically, like, if people know Anthony Bourdain, he's in that realm. He's in that realm. Jeremy Clarkson. He's arrogant and pompous, but he's good at what he does. He doesn't have a filter. He doesn't care who he offends. The fact that he's stayed employed this long is a minor miracle, but the fact is he's interesting and he's good at what he does. So, I mean, one of the best episodes they ever did was when they did cheap cars in Alabama, and they wrote really screwed up stuff on.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Cars.
That was
Yeah,
good.
that shows what Jeremy Clarkson would bring to NASCAR, which would be hilarious.
Okay. No. Is Ricky ever going to get Demica in a family way, or is it he actually going to eat Yunch?
I
What?
don't.
This is Dennis's
understood that
question. I don't even understand this. I'm going to.
Which one is it? Where is it?
His name is Dennis.
Yeah. So is he? Where? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't. That's a good question. Did Kyle Larson faint after Alex Bowman showed him a naked picture of Domica?
Yes, answer that. Yes.
Because she's packing heat. Yeah. A nook. Yeah. Is Ricky gonna ever get Domica in a family way, or is probably gonna get her? If the family means getting gangbanged, then yeah, that's happened plenty of times.
Okay, let's see. No. Will Daniel Noss ever buy a vowel?
Yeah, because his name is Knost. Like it's like the way his pronunciation is as arrogant as fucking cunt of a driver.
Will MW55 bring a goat into Australia before it qualifies to Talladega?
Well, you see, the question, you have to understand, man, you're asking these questions like you already know what the answer is. So it's like, it's you know that he's banging goats, he's banging his brother, and he's banging Chris Myers, among other people, and Kenny Wallace too. All those freaking
Larry McReynolds, Jeff Hammond, Andy
all
Petrie.
Those glory holers, all those damn glory holers on Fox Sports.
Did you see him touching Carl Edwards' leg?
No, and I'm glad.
What the actual fuck?
Alright, that's about it. We're proud members of the geeksoftheindustry.com network. Facebook.com/groups/NASCAST500. Facebook.com/groups/Geeks of the Eye. We have a Twitter at NASCAST500. One of us will update it one of these days. Who knows? I have a Twitter at Elizabeth Moxley. I am definitely not safe for work. We have a YouTube page. Just go in a search button, type in NASCAST 500, and listen to our show. Guys?
Before I give out my plugs, I'd like to talk about something serious for NASCAR. It's a big, it's a date for NASCAR fans that a lot of people won't forget. 22 years ago today, we lost Alan Kulwicki in a plane crash, and it's one of the big. It's a big story that stays close to me. Even though I wasn't born when he died, I was born just about almost a year later after, about 9 months after. He definitely should be remembered, and a lot of people knew that he was a great driver. He proved that an underdog can do great with his own equipment, and he won the 1992 championship, the closest championship battle up until 2011, when Stewart and Edwards battled for the championship. Beat the late Davey Allison. He beat Bill Elliott. It was basically Ford's year in the championship hunt. He ran his own team, AK Racing. CRX sponsored him. Hooters sponsored him. And he definitely would have gone places had he not been killed in that plane crash. But, you know, we all know that he'll always be a legend to us, at least to me. And it's April 1st, 1993 when we lost him. And his birthday was in December, so he would have been 60. So, Alan, wherever you're at, we miss you, and we hope you're doing good. Now I'm going to get my normal thing out of the way, which is my plugs, my Facebook, whatnot. I'm on Facebook, www.facebook.com/AdamLoveSonOnaRider. I'm on Twitter at The Desert Bandit. I didn't go on there much. I only go on there basically to check if I got any new followers and bullshit with Phil during the race weekend and talk about what's on our minds and to retweet statuses and pictures from the nostalgia chick and see what's going on with my future wife. But that's another story for another day. I'm on YouTube, youtube.com/user/SunnyBurnett1988. I upload 80s stuff, mostly Miami Vice cues, but I also upload full albums of 80s bands and artists. My most recent upload was the Greg Allman Band's I'm No Angel, which was released a few days ago, so go check that out. I'm on Instagram, NashBridges94. I post anything, NASCAR, chicks, things I find relevant and funny, so go check me out.
Yeah, I wanted to add on to that because it's a meaningful day because Alan Kulwicki is the last true independent to win a Cup championship, and that battle will go down in history as one of the greatest championship battles. Chevy probably threw a bitch fit because Ford's dominated the whole year. For me, 1993 was the first full year I watched NASCAR racing, and I knew Alan Kulwicki and Davey Allison was my favorite driver, and within months we lost both of them. And the sport would look a lot different with both of them still here. Same with Dale Earnhardt, of course. As much as he was a good driver and he won racing and he obviously won a championship, his mechanic and his business acumen would have really made Alan Kulwicki somebody to be reckoned with a good driver and good crew chief combination. Like my buddy Randy said, it's like if they put Jeff Gordon and Ray Evernham with Alan Kulwicki's team, Ford could probably be the ones that are dominating, have a lot of wins and championships with Jeffy. It's a brutal loss. I can see it now. The final lap that Peter Jellin, who currently drives the semi for the 18, he drove the semi for the 7 crew. He drove those few laps at Bristol that rainy day in April when they were leaving after the death of Alan and 4 Hooters executives. It's a depressing day. It was a depressing day then. It's depressing now because he's a much greater driver than what the stats show. The things he did for the sport and his intellect were his driving ability. You could probably ask Mark Martin or Rusty Wallace about how good he was as a driver, and Mike Eddy and Bob Seneca, all the guys in the ASA, because he came from there, made it and did it his own way, drove the Underbird, and he was a true pioneer because he was the last. They could say Tony was a driver owner, but at the end of the day, he owns 50% of a team with Gene Haas, and he gets Hendrick equipment. Alan Kulwicki, there's people who still are around today, Paul Andrews, Tony Gibson, Peter Jellin, most all the people that are involved on that team are still involved in the sport today. And so Godspeed Alan Kulwicki again on this anniversary of your passing, and brings back the memories of who we lost back in 1993, and probably talk about that when Davey in July with Davey as well, and that'll probably be a little more emotional for me. I'm at Twitter, on Twitter at Philip G. Mathew. I'm on Facebook, facebook.com/Philip G. Mathew, and give a follow to Richard.
Richard!
I think I saw that. I got a friend request from him, so probably should follow him. I think that would be pretty interesting.
Oh, Richard Stenhouse?
Richard Stinkhouse, I think is his name.
Oh, wow.
So you might want to go and follow that guy. And, just unfiltered blog. Hopefully I get some time. Going to the auto show this weekend, but a little slow weekend. May end up actually writing something and posting Adam's story, which might actually have some more relevance because it'll be more dramatic when Kyle Larson comes back from fainting from labor pains to go and win his first Cup race at Texas or something.
Okay, with that being said, for my friends Adam and Phil, I'm Elizabeth. Have a nice day.
like leaves, their faces hard, set in stone. I'd just like to know, cold and tired, hope all gone, just how far this road goes on. I'd just like to see all or nothing, high or low, just how far this game can go. Plant my feet on foreign soil, no return. I crossed that line some time ago. Cast my eyes on the streets that shine, reflect my image, and I know I'm living on borrowed time. I'd sure like to feel dreams I chased so long ago, when wasted miles on empty roads. I'd just like to believe all these desperate cries I hear are falling on sympathetic ear. In the world, there are illusions. All you're left with is your changing luck, kisses and tears, unanswered questions, just a child of chance with your changing luck, changing luck. A song I've heard since I was young, sounds so sweet on this lonely street. It makes me cry, asking myself why, oh why, I'm such a fool. Listen to this deadly kind of lullaby. Oh, I'd just like to know, cold and tired, hope all gone, just how far this road goes on. Yeah, I'd just like to see all or nothing, high or low, just how far this game can go. In the world, there are illusions. All you're left with is your changing luck, kisses and tears, unanswered questions, just a child of chance with your changing love, changing love, with the changing love, with the changing love.